Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast 2023. We are wrapping it up. We are going to be in December by the next time this one comes out. Huuuu-rah. Alex Navarro, how are you?
Is that what you say when you transition from November to December?
Huuuu-rah.
I was never informed of that, and I feel like I have missed out on so much.
Hey, you know, it's a kind of maybe it's just a Caravelle thing we do around here, but
okay. Well, thank you for inviting me into your family tradition.
Yeah, look, you were here for Thanksgiving. Now you get to kind of celebrate all of them, and
I think I'm related to you now.
Yeah, in the best possible way. It's you're relatable and related.
One can only hope.
You got the good genes. Brad Shoemaker, hoorah! Here we go.
Is that a hoorah? Is that an ooo-rah, hooo-ah? Have you enlisted? Are you in the service now?
No, I was kind of doing like take hurrah and split it up kind of thing, like hoorah, but not like an ooo-rah.
What is the...
Not an Oscar Mike.
It's always the ooo-rah is the Marine Corps, hooo-ah is the Army. Is that right?
Is that right?
I believe
no, hooo-ah is Al Pacino.
And that's I forget.
I don't know.
Oh man, don't make me look up that old Battlefield social network where you hoo-ah'd posts.
Oh my gosh, now I'm even more lost as to what you're talking about. Do you
not remember this?
No.
Oh god, what was that called? The Battle Log, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I believe it was Battle Log. Does Battle Log still exist?
Is that not a like Blizzard thing?
Are you asking the people who are listening to this podcast because unfortunately they can't respond?
Well, I'm asking you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know shit about shit, man.
I'm really dating myself here. I believe Battle Log was a Battlefield 4 era.
Oh my gosh.
Battlefield 1, it looks like it extended to Battlefield 1 at least,
Okay.
which is like at least still sort of within the last decade. Anyway, yes, they made a Battlefield-based social network called Battle Log, and instead of liking posts, you hoo-ah'd them.
Sure.
I will never do that.
Well, I don't think you can anymore, so you're in luck.
I wonder where we are with Battlefield. Like, wonder where Battlefield.
That last one is still a going concern, as far as I know, though I don't know how popular it is right now.
I see like vaguely positive things about 2142 these days.
Okay,
I think they probably got it to a decent place, I guess. But
I over the Thanksgiving holiday on Wednesdays, usually we try to get a bunch of people together in the family to play some games. I had to download Siege because that is the 5-player thing that we could get. Everybody would have. I have not played Siege, Rainbow Six Siege, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, in a very long time. Let me tell you, it did not last long in Siege.
Oh, okay.
I think we did tried one or two things, and then we were immediately like, it's okay if we just like break up into groups and do.
Mm-hmm. We can game by ourselves. It's fine.
I think we wound up jumping into Warzone. Not the DMZ has three player groups, but Warzone you could do more. So we wound up going in there and trying that out, which also was it's fun, but it's, looking for something PvE, not necessarily PvPvE.
This is the family group, right?
This is the family group, yeah.
Yes, playing. I also having a weekly or infrequent game night with some friends who don't get to play games a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when I tried to bring Marauders in there. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
Like it makes you realize sometimes when people don't have a lot of time to play games.
You're asking a lot.
They don't want to spend the small amount of time they do have suffering in a dire way.
Yeah, but sometimes, like my older brother is deep into Call of Duty's DMZ, so he knows the whole game in and out. But that's like kind of all he plays. Like you could have a friend that's just wholly focused on Marauders, right? And like they're just in the Marauder hole, or what's the other one?
Tell me about your Marauder hole.
The what hole?
The Marauder hole. Deep in the Marauder hole.
There you go.
What's the one that people love with the kind of spooky bayou hunting monsters?
Hunt Showdown?
Yeah, Hunt Showdown. Like I feel like you're probably not off from a friend or close friend close friend or family being like a hunt showdown person, right? And being like, oh no, I have like 172 hours in that game, right?
If there is a hunt showdown person in your family, you have to report them.
Everybody has a hunt showdown person somewhere.
And you have to report them to the police.
That's one of those games I feel like that probably... What studio is that? Like
Crytek.
Is that Crytek? Oh, okay. They're probably... That to me feels like a Don't Starve level of, we hit one, we're good. Should we try something else, or should we just do Hunt Showdown forever? You know?
Yeah, they're probably going to do Hunt Showdown forever. I don't know how big it is. I think it's probably doing pretty well. I was also reminded recently that Crytek is working on Crysis 4.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, maximum nostalgia.
Forgot.
Finally, the fourth Crysis.
They announced a Crysis 4.
The game that put hexagons on the map. It's back. They sell their engine to people?
I don't know how much the CryEngine is licensed these days, if at all.
It was at a time, but I can't remember the last time I saw something that had the words CryEngine in it. Though that could just be me.
You know,
I don't play a lot of those games, to be fair. So,
yeah, I haven't played Hunt Showdown in a bit, but I have enjoyed what I have played of Hunt Showdown.
That game's great. It's brutal. It's brutal, but it's great.
What kind of game is that? Is that an extraction shooter?
Yeah, I'd say that's extraction. Is that kind of proto-extraction? I think that kind of blew up before extraction games got big, didn't it?
It's in that. I feel like it's in that smaller scale PvE extraction style. You know?
Yes, it's definitely less PvP.
Yeah,
I think.
But there, I mean, look, people are peeing on the P's in there.
Excuse me?
Yes, you absolutely will.
Pardon me?
Yes.
When you're going for an E, you will get peed.
A P will be V'd against another P.
Yes.
At any moment.
I have to get off this podcast. I can't do this anymore.
You're not. Listen, if you're down with P, then you're down with me. Alex.
Okay, now I'm back.
Okay.
As soon as you drop a rentals reference, I'm in.
I have plenty of friends, and some of them are P's. Some of them.
One of them is Matt Sharp.
Not a lot of them are E's. If you're friends with E's, then you're not friends with me.
But you're friend with E, formerly of Microsoft, then you are a friend of me. Shout out to E.
But if you're down with E, then I don't really know. I've grown up a lot since then. My days of rolling are kind of behind me. So you know,
I don't even know how we got from. We jumped a lot there. We ended up somewhere that I was not expecting.
That is our way of saying, look, there are games still coming out, but I think we are collectively doing an exhale of trying to get through some of the catalog we have acquired throughout the year here, which is a good thing. So we're going to talk some about that. First, let's talk about a game that actually did just release, or actually will be out soon.
I believe it's out now.
I've got December 1st in my notes here.
That's practically right now.
Yes, that is December. Yes, you're right. Embargo's up, though.
That is
that I can.
Thank you for verifying that. I was quickly searching through an email to just triple check. That's Steamworld Build, and I hope the embargo is up so I can, because I have made it through. Let's talk about it. Well, let's set it up first here.
Okay.
Steamworld. My son asked me. He said, "Dad, what is Steamworld Build?" And I said, "Okay." He's like, "Is it an RTS game?" I said, "No, not really." And he's like, "Are there other Steam worlds? Why is it Steamworld Build?" And I said, "Okay."
Oh, that's a big question.
And that's a big question. I was like, Steamworld is kind of like a franchise, and there are other games. And Steamworld Dig and Steamworld Dig 2 are some of the greatest in that franchise. Steamworld Build is a builder game, city management game with a layer of tower defense built into it. Is that fair?
So far, I'm with you.
It's a little like They Are Billions. You guys remember that game?
I do. Zombie survival strategy.
Yeah, all kind of in the Steamworld universe, which is the universe I like.
Yeah.
I finished what I guess you can call a campaign of that game. It kind of starts you off giving you, I think, 4 or 5 different maps you can play.
I think it's 5.
Each map doesn't have necessarily a difficulty rating like you might expect, because you can change the difficulty that you want to play on.
Mm-hmm.
But they do get you a specific award if you complete the campaign on that map, which is generally a pretty big booster for the rest of your time.
Okay.
So
like
I finished
kind of modifier or something.
Yeah, it's I forget what they call it. Special building. It's a special building or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that you get. Like the first one, Brad. This will make sense to you, and I'll explain more in a second. But the first one, you beat it, and the train comes faster on a faster loop.
Okay.
And I think has more goodies or something inside of it. One of them gets you free roads and conveyor belts, which is the next map I would play. So you pick your map in there, and you jump in. I have not jumped into the other maps. I started on the first map. It seemed like kind of in the tone of Steamworld, the map that I would play. Like, this is like, this feels like the canonical map for Steamworld Build.
It's the desert one.
Yeah. It was the one that was in the demo.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, and the story through this is probably my most disappointing part. It's very light. It's, you're out there with this, if you played the SteamWorld games, this kind of Portal-esque orb. What's
yes, there's like a basically. I think we streamed the demo and this was in there, so people may have seen this. But like the intro of this with the evil personality sphere hanging out in the back of the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay, they don't say flat out that it's evil, but come on.
What else could it be?
Tell me that thing. Tell me that thing does not have sinister motives.
I will not. And
Okay.
so this thing is guiding you out to the desert. The planet is tearing itself apart. It is guiding you to find pieces of a spaceship to put back together, Solar Jetman style. You are going to get the pieces of the spaceship, put them together, and exit this planet post-haste before it explodes. To do that, you need to build and found a city on the surface, and then you need to go underground to start mining and digging up pieces of the ship. I think there are like 8 or 9 pieces total. There are, at least in what I have played, again, finishing that first campaign, 3 levels to mine, 3 different areas to mine. They get increasingly more difficult with enemies attacking at you at kind of regular intervals. So there is a tower defense element in there. And then you're just, you're kind of doing the city building spinning plates. As you grow, you need more resources. As you need more resources, you need more resources. So you're building the thing that needs more things, that needs more things, that needs more things, right?
I'm hearing that you need more.
You always need more, and you're balancing that out against available space and efficiency of planning out your map. And then what you do in the mines is pretty independent, aside from gathering and sharing the resources back and forth. What you're doing in the mines is fairly independent of what you're doing on the top level. So you're building miners, prospectors, and guards, mostly in the mining levels. There are repair bots also there, engineers, and you're building like turrets and mining equipment, and that's all getting built on those lower levels.
Got it.
And
does it ever come a point that like the arrangement of the buildings up top have to reflect something underneath? Like that was my concern, was that eventually you were going to realize like, oh no, the way I laid this stuff out was not great because it needs to like, connect to some elevator that goes down, or you know what I mean? Like, is it there?
No, there's one mine shaft that just basically gets you to and it doesn't really even matter here. Just is one mine shaft that is your conduit to the subfloors, but it doesn't even really matter. It's kind of a aesthetic thing. But your layout up top does matter in terms of city placement. So you're building 3 or 4 tiers eventually of citizens, your workers, the engineers, the aristocrats, and then the scientists. They each have different needs. To build a scientist, you have to level up through the tiers. So if you need more scientists, you need to start out a worker, upgrade them to engineer, upgrade them to aristocrat, or I think it's aristocrat in the game, and then upgrade them to scientist. You can't just build more scientists. You always have to go up those tiers, and each level of worker has different needs, bonuses, buffs, and the whole thing. Like the aristocrats need hats. How you gonna get hats? You gotta fabricate hats. So build a hat factory. Make sure that hat factory is delivering enough hats. Some things, and this might be confusing for the young players out there, the new ones. Some things are buffs that need to be within a vicinity of the citizens, and some things can just be manufactured out in the desert and they'll be trucked in. So some things need to be like a general store needs to service the area where the people are living. So you gotta worry about density and kind of a Sim City style of like, what's the radius that this serves? Other things, it doesn't matter. You're going to truck them in. The other thing that trips up a lot of the young players out there is that you got warehouses receive goods locally, but then distribute goods wherever they are. Does that make sense? Like if you put a lumber mill next to a warehouse, it needs to be close to that lumber mill. Sorry, the warehouse needs to be close to that lumber mill. But the warehouses share all those goods, teleporting them. So where other warehouses will be able to get the lumber from that lumber mill no matter where it is on the map upstairs. So just be aware of that when you're setting up your placement. It took me a little bit to really wrap my head around that of like, oh, okay, this warehouse doesn't need to be close to where the lumber is getting processed because it teleports to wherever another lumber mill is. So just be aware of that, at least from my understanding. I will say the run through took me, I don't know, under 10 hours, to get through one map.
So that's completing one map, right?
That's one map. That was on the average difficulty. You can set them the higher difficulty. Gosh, there was something on there. What was it? Oh, higher difficulty said you do not get refunded the cost when you destroy a building. And I said, fuck no. I refuse to play that game. I will not play that game. I had to tear down. There is a move tool. So you can move buildings around. But I had to tear down so much stuff because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know. But it's not a difficult game.
Okay.
On the average difficulty. But it is fun.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
I was kind of, it helps. I was kind of interested to see the structure of this game when I started it, and also it led to me kind of questioning what I have become a little bit. Because when you start this game and you get a new game, like, there's not really an intro or a tutorial as such immediately upon starting a new game. It's just a list of maps.
Yep.
Like, when you start, it's just the 5 maps, and it was like, I felt very thrown off when I saw this list of maps without anybody saying, hey, play this one first, or hey, do this. Why don't you watch this movie first? Why don't you do this tutorial? Like, you do get a tutorial, to be clear, when you start one of the maps. I assume if you pick a different map besides the first one on the list, you would still get a tutorial, or maybe not. Maybe actually the tutorial is only attached to that first map. Now that I think about it. But like,
I don't think so, because there are options to turn the tutorial off on the other.
Oh, per map. Okay,
yeah, playthrough.
Okay, that makes sense. So like, or maybe it was the fact that the subsequent maps were not locked out that threw me off.
Yes,
like. I definitely had a moment where I had to step back, and I was just like, have I become so coddled that I can't just play a game that just gives me a list of maps and I figure it out now? I was like, which one do I play first? Like, tell me what to do.
I'm with you. I also had that initial, like, why would I pick another map?
Right.
What
right.
is...
I was like, should I pick the third map? That one's got a Ferris wheel on it or whatever, It's like...
so to be fair, I did not go into the other maps. There's also a toggle to turn the story off on subsequent playthroughs to be like, man, you just want to play.
Yeah, that's handy for sure. It was like if you think back, like how many like strategy games of the past were exactly this, It's just like, here's a bunch of maps, just start a scenario and go. That's the game. Like, I don't know why, for some reason I was just like, I felt helpless for a moment until I was like, you know what, just pick a map and go.
If you're doing the campaign, usually they would pick your map for you, I would say, because they structure the campaign to that map. So I think yes, like if you're doing the story, they would funnel you into a map and then you'd unlock the rest of the map. That's a fair like ask of this kind of thing. I was also put off. I initially thought other maps would have different difficulties or some kind of weird twist to them, and they still might. I didn't go into them, but I assume the general structure is the same because I unlocked a bunch of achievements for reaching the end of tech trees. Like, hey, you reached this end of this tech tree, or you've unlocked all the levels of a mine, or you've built every machine, or whatever it is. So I assume that like you're not suddenly in some other game because of another map. It's cool. It's I hate to say it's light, but it is focused. Let's say it is. It is not a game that is going to. It is not like a Satisfactory or Factorio game of building a big factory in your layer. I said the word conveyor belts, but they are also optional. Like you really can get by, and you might even want to get by without them in a lot of cases. And the city building part is also pretty focused. Like it's a in the map I played, it's fairly tight quarters. There's even the zooming out doesn't go that far out. This isn't a full-on city simulator game. It's not what this game is about.
Yeah, seems like there's probably enough meat there with 5 maps, though. I mean, it's only $30.
Yeah, yes, and I think that's a great ask for what I played of it. But I wish the story were a little more interesting. Because call me a silly old man, but I really enjoyed the narrative stuff in Steamworld Dig and Dig 2. I thought that was a fun storytelling for what they were doing there. And this is very bare bones, just a reason for these people to be digging in the dirt kind of thing.
And I don't need a reason to dig in the dirt. I can just do that.
I'll just dig in that dirt. And honestly, I'm not sure it even makes that much sense. That's the story at the end. It's just like, okay, look, you want to build a spaceship.
Look, I'm here now. All right, you got me in the door. Let's just do this.
There is some promise in that intro, though, like the kind of writhe sort of way that sphere regards the robots.
Yeah,
and seems to be using them as tools.
I mean, that robot is basically a sphere with a giant eye, and it rolls its giant eye when it talks. Yeah. Like, I don't know why people trust those robots. But yeah, I played this on Steam. I think it's coming out to consoles as well. So yes. I played it with a controller. Played just fine with a controller.
Yeah, I just noticed it's on Switch, which seems like it would probably be a pretty good Switch game, assuming it runs well.
I'm trying to think, stuff does run concurrently between levels. So you're talking about simulating 4 things at a time. I don't know. I'm no programmer, so I don't know if that causes some kind of bottleneck somewhere, what you need to do that, run those simulations.
This is how I find out you're not a programmer. After all this time, after all that building of that database.
I can pretend to be one some places, but I couldn't tell you if trying to run those simulations would kill your Switch.
Damn you on this day, Vinny Caravella.
It's to that point, though, the pathfinding and the things you need to work well. So your miners and everything like that seem to be doing the thing you want them to do, which could be a real pain in the butt in this game if it didn't work. Because you're getting attacked in different places, sometimes simultaneously, and you don't have any direct control over your troops or anything like that. So you need them to go where they are needed most, and they seem to generally do that and use the proper mechanism for doing that. So that's great. That seems to work really well. Only once in a while I was like, why isn't this person repairing this thing that needs to be repaired? This turret is down. You need to repair this turret. Don't worry about the other stuff. And you can't like prioritize or say like, this is a level 1 thing. But for the most part, it works well and ran well, at least on the PC, and plays fine with the controller. There are probably some things that are much easier with the mouse, but I'll say with the controller, played just fine. Steamworld Build. Available, I think, on everything basically. December 1st. $30? $30. Demo was out. Did we do any of the demo? Did we stream it?
I'm pretty sure maybe we didn't stream it actually. I can't remember.
I played some of the demo.
I did too.
Maybe we streamed it for one of the Steam Next Fest things.
Possible. Is this the first Steamworld game not made by the original developers?
I'm not sure.
This one is not. This one is made by a developer called The Station.
It's published by Thunderful, which
because Image and Form was the company that did all the Steamworld games, and they kind of merged with Thunderful.
Yeah,
to make a big new thing.
Yes,
I think they're working on some other stuff maybe as well. Anyway, it's cool to see more Steamworld.
Yeah, and this is a fine entry in it. My personal thing is maybe you lose half a point to a point for the story because, look, I'm an idiot. I want narrative even in my city building games.
I get it, man. Yeah. I get it.
Oh, God, I forgot. They're working on that Steamworld Headhunter also. Remember that?
No? What is that?
All they've shown is the cinematic trailer, I want to say, of that. Teaser trailer? God, that was 2 years ago. I think it kind of looked like it might be a bigger action-adventure, like Wild West shoot 'em up, something.
Huh.
I don't know what exactly that's going to be.
Okay.
But
I like that. Like that universe.
Yeah, those games are awesome. Ranking of Steamworld. Let's go.
Dig 2.
Actually, yes. That's not even a conversation. It's Dig 2 by a mile.
Dig 2, Dig, Heist. I didn't play that card one.
Yeah, I never got around to Steamworld Quest. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
Heist was cool. I liked Heist.
Yeah, Heist was right. And Build. Build's out.
And Steamworld Tower Defense, let's not forget. on the Nintendo DSi.
Never forget. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we're going to have a potpourri of games that I think we're trying to get in there. And we'll talk about what games we want to try and finish up before the end of the year. So stick around. We'll be right back. This week's show is brought to you by Uncommon Goods. Brad and Alex, the holiday season is upon us, and that can mean only one thing: stressing out over getting people you want to get presents for gifts.
You hate it. I hate it.
Nobody likes it.
No.
And it's required. Uncommon Goods is here to take some of that load off of you. When you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. These products are often made in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. I'll tell you, I was talking to my wife about Uncommon Goods. She said she overheard me doing the ad for Uncommon Goods last time. She said, "Did you know that many things you have gotten over the holidays have been from Uncommon Goods?" And
like
said,
what, Vinny?
I said, I did not. We have a cool thing in our house that is like a sand in oil thing that you flip over and the sand kind of goes in waves. I don't know the name of it, but it is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things we have gotten for the kids have come from Uncommon Goods, because I asked that same question to my wife. Like what? My wife. They also have uncommon experiences.
Okay.
And these are more, they are explained here, more than virtual classes. They're unexpected opportunities to have fun and connect in new ways, from tarot card reading, romantic map making, cooking and mixology classes, and more. And what is in this and more? You've already said romantic map making.
What else could there be?
Paint your pet. Paint your pets.
I've got to break character here to the extent that I have a character and be like, how do you make a map romantically?
Well, you'll have to find out in this uncommon experience. Painting your pet is not actually painting your pet, but taking a watercolor class to paint your pet.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it does. Uncommon Good looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the USA. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. Like banana-saving hats. I'll just leave it there.
Yep.
Well, let me add, they're little tiny hats for your bananas. They're little knit hats for your bananas.
I took it literally. I was right to do so.
To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/Nextlander. That's uncommongoods.com/Nextlander for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. Thanks, Uncommon Goods. This week's show is brought to you by Bespoke Post. If you didn't know already, Brad and Alex, it is still in the window for the holidays. And there are still gifts to be gotten and gifts to be received.
I would say the majority of the gifts still need to be gotten and then eventually received.
Sometimes giving a great gift is its own gift.
Whoa.
You just blew my mind.
Bespoke Post and Box of Awesome are here to help you out. I recently got a Box of Awesome, and I opened it up, and it was awesome. I had a hot sauce making kit. And if you guys know me, I like hot sauce.
Hell yeah,
and I like
you do.
making stuff.
Yeah.
Give a Vinny a bottle of hot sauce, he'll hot sauce for a day. Teach Vinny to hot sauce.
Oh my gosh,
You
forget
know where
it.
I'm going with this.
Talk about
Yeah.
gifts that keep on giving throughout the whole body. It's a whole body hot sauce. To get started, you can take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right box of awesome for you or someone you're getting a gift for. I'll just add that in. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories, and each box is valued at around $70. But you're only going to pay a fraction of that price. Plus, with each box of awesome, you're supporting small businesses. 90% of everything that comes in your box of awesome is from a small and up-and-coming brand. It's free to sign up, and you could skip a month or cancel at any time. And I'm going to add this bullet point in for free. If you're looking for something to get for somebody and it's really hard, go check out Bespoke Post and Box of Awesome. They send a lot of variety, a lot of different things out there, and might just get you off the hook for a gift that you're having a lot of trouble with. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code Nextlander at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code Nextlander for 20% off your first box. Boxofawesome.com, code Nextlander. Thanks, Bespoke Post. We are back, and so is my voice, and so is my time with Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, you're back in it.
Find it.
I did it. I went into Baldur's Gate 3. I said, you know what? Let's do this. I want to get this one done before the end of the year. I want to finish Act 3. Even if they update it later.
Even if it kills you.
Even if it kills my whole party.
Were you in Act 3 already?
Yeah. I
left off.
I put everything down, the controller down when I started Act 3, because that's when they started. As I was pulling into Act 3 is when they started releasing at least some of those updates for Act 3. And I said, oh boy, if they're going to start patching those things in, maybe I should just wait. Mostly because they had been patching in some actual content stuff. I don't know if you guys remember, they put in some stuff for Karlach and her ending.
Like better ending stuff.
So I was like, man.
That patch that had over 1,000 fixes that made all those headlines is just like 3 weeks old, so you probably will benefit from quite a bit.
So I said to myself, let's do this. Let's go back in. Let's just see what's there. And I love that game, man. I really do. Mm-hmm. As soon as I was back in it, I was like, I have missed this game. I've missed playing this game. But Act 3's got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of plates spinning, and they feel wobbly a little bit. And I'm worried about stuff colliding in weird ways. I already had somebody mention a thing in my camp that was like, I have not seen that yet. You're commenting on a thing I haven't seen yet.
That was a common one that I've seen people talk about, like having quests spoiled by having their quest log like fill out ahead of them actually doing the thing.
It was a character kind of being like, it was a dialogue with this character being like, man, I can't believe that person got captured. Be like, it's the what now?
When did that happen?
I wasn't there for that. They're sitting right there. What are you talking about?
wait, no, wait. Who is it?
When
Who
did that take
talking
place?
About? And so then like a couple of hours later, I was like, oh, they got captured. Like this person got captured.
That's not
great. That's a person. And then there's a thing, and Brad, you mentioned like, oh, where are you as somebody who plays games with Steamworld Build, right? I don't know where I am as somebody who plays games where I don't know if I like the suspense of something possibly being on a timer or not. I think I just want to know. Like a
hidden timer specifically?
Specifically a hidden timer.
It's like even more specifically a hidden timer in a D&D style RPG of sorts.
A hidden timer, an obtuse hidden timer where I hit 3 things that seem like they might be on hidden timers, and kind of accidentally just by like walking into rooms, you know, and you're like, oh crap, I walked into this room and now somebody's like, and I'll kill them soon. Poof. And I'm like, wait, what? How do you game? How are you calculating soon? What are your flags?
What's your definition of that?
Yeah, is it long resting? Is it doing another quest? Because I've got 3 things I need to do, and I need to figure out how to do them, I guess, quickly now. I'm not sure. And so I immediately looked them up. I was like, okay, is this on a timer? What's the story here? And there was debate, like what causes the timers to go, which is like, oh man, this is This is devastating to me. I'm paralyzed.
That's amazing, because now I'm thinking about like where this game is at in its life cycle. It's still new enough that people haven't figured it all out yet. Like they haven't fully peered inside and measured all the gears and stuff like that. Like I've probably talked about this before. Like the classic example to me is the Mass Effect 2 timer.
Oh yes.
Like reviewing that game before, I'm sure I've said this before, like reviewing that game before it came out like scarred me for life, because what is it? It's like after you get the Reaper IFF, right? You can only do 2 more side missions, and then if you do a third, then your members start dying or will die later.
Or
like Kelly Chambers will die.
Kelly.
Basically, like you're going to lose Dr. Chakwas.
Yes, right.
And Kelly Chambers because you did one extra side mission before you went to the end game.
Yes.
And like people have like figured that out very specifically at this point. Of course they have in 14 years or whatever, 13.
However long it's been.
This game is going to take some time, I'm sure, for people to like really. And also when you can't exactly like decompile the code and look at it or whatever. Like I'm always fascinated by like whatever signposts people use to figure stuff like that out. Like it has to just be like insane amounts of repetition and testing, right?
I'm not sure. Like I don't know, because there are so many. The stuff I have seen starts listing off so many variables, right? So it's just people being like, okay, here's what happened in my particular instance. I had done this in Act 1. I did these 2 things in Act 2. I did these 2 things in Act 3, and this is how long it took me for this person. And I showed up and they were dead or alive or whatever. And then just a bunch of people listing off their particular things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I have 3 things now going on. Part of me is like, man, just roll with it. Just enjoy the flavor of the thing. And what would you do? Just role play it out. And what would you do? And part of me is like, man, if I do that and I wind up with this person dead, I'm going to be really bummed for the rest of my 100+ hour playthrough I now have in this. So I still am enjoying it a lot. I think, I don't know. How does a game, I also appreciate a game that creates a bit of urgency in their storytelling, right? Where it's like, I'm going to destroy the world. Don't spend your time finding people's wallets, right?
Yeah. I think we talked about that with Spider-Man some. Like,
yeah.
Some people super do not care about that sort of thing. You do, I do. Of like, would the characters do this? Like,
right.
would they actually go screw around for 30 hours while the world's about to end? Of course not.
Or maybe like, look, you're not going to win it all. Like, you got to make your choices and prioritize and do the thing you think is most important to you. And that's like kind of cool. But I put so much time into this game.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not accusing you of this, but it definitely sort of gets into a situation of like, can't have your cake and eat it too. Of like, I want this to feel dangerous and exciting and risky, but I don't want to actually suffer any consequences.
Totally, yes. And like, so I fully accept where I am personally on that journey. It's very much where I was with Fallout 3. When it was like, oh, crud, I want to have the conversation stuff and lockpick my way through all of these things.
Yeah, like
I want to know what happens on both of these.
Like I want to know that some of these beloved characters could die forever. I just don't actually want to lose any of them.
Right. I want to be the hero and not make the bad choice. So kudos to the game, I think, for doing a thing which is creating urgency and making you kind of force your way. And, look, sometimes you stumble into a bad situation. Should I know all the triggers that are going to pop these things off? It's kind of great in that way. Does it stress me out? And did I immediately go to the iPad to find like, oh my God, what do I have to do first? Yes, I definitely did. And was I shocked to see that it hadn't been mapped out to the digit? Yes, I was shocked to know that this popular game had not been dissected like you said, Brad. But here I am, just pushing forward. I'm going to try and do it and see what happens. But it's not one of those things I'm going to go roll back 5 hours after I do it to another save.
That was my question was, are you safe scumming this as a matter of policy or not?
I save scum it because that's how I originally wasn't doing it as hard as I am, but now I do it fairly regularly. But I don't find myself actually relying on the scum as much as I thought I would. I kind of roll, pun intended, with the bad rolls I get. I will occasionally, if I can't get something opened or I miss some check, be like, man, I really want to know what would have happened there. I will go back and roll one. But occasionally I don't, and then I die a little bit later and have to go back to that save anyway and do that check again, and it happens differently. I don't feel bad about save scumming this mostly, but the thing is, to do what we're talking about here, I would have to roll back hours because there's like 3 big quest lines,
and you're not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that. And if somebody dies, hey, I
so
think
be it.
this might be a game I play again at some point, maybe with the kids, maybe somewhere else. Let's try it differently. Look, I played Mass Effect.
He dies.
He dies. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are games I played through to completion twice because I always wanted to see the Renegade and Paragon stuff. And that was really fun to play through twice. Those were not maybe 100+ hour games. Those were more like, I don't know, 40 to 60 hour games if you're getting in on everything. But we shall see. That's my Baldur's Gate 3 journey. I'm going down it. I'm continuing down it.
It ain't over yet.
I still love that game to pieces. If anybody has any doubt, that's the game to come at for me to knock off my number 1 game. It's not a lot of time left. I'm looking at you, Pandora, whatever the hell is
Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, the last major release of 2023. That's not true, but
it's the last AAA release I think of this year, isn't it?
Just thinking this morning, I should go put in for a code for that. I should check that out. I like Far Cry well enough. I guess I'll play another map game.
Play another map
this year.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Nor have I.
I guess I should probably watch it.
Nor will I.
No,
the first one's terrible. It is. The first movie is still fucking terrible. I'm sorry.
I can't.
Fine. No, it's
fine.
Not.
It's like
it's pretty bad. But
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty mid for James Cameron, but it's a functional movie.
I think I saw that with you, effects. Right, Brad?
Look, it's not Ninja Terminator or anything, but it's not good.
I think I saw that with you in 3D.
We see that at the IMAX.
Yeah. Look,
we're like 10 people there.
Yeah, we went with the group.
We went to see that.
I think that movie has aged terribly. My memory of that movie is probably a lot worse than it was when I walked out of that theater.
Yeah, to be fair, I have not seen it since we saw it in the theater.
But I remember it.
And let me tell you, it's not good. That is the angriest my partner has ever been walking out of a movie theater. Yeah. She was so fucking mad that I dragged her to that. And I don't blame her.
I wonder how the CG holds up. I wonder if that still looks pretty good. I haven't seen it. And when did that come out? 15 years ago?
2009, I want to say.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
2009.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that game is coming out in like a week or two.
That'll come out. Or you could just play Baldur's Gate again. The thing I was going to say about replaying that game, it seems like of current RPGs, like the number of variations, the number of different ways you could play through Baldur's Gate 3 seems like so much higher than just about anything else I could think of. Certainly more than like a Mass Effect, because Mass Effect is just a mishmash of two binary choices. Right. Basically, it's like maybe I'll go Paragon on this one and then shoot somebody in the face on the next one. But like still fundamentally, it's just kind of two parallel paths.
So
versus there's so many possibilities in this for just about every variable.
I have played through the beginning of that game probably, I want to say 8 times, right? In various early access with people, a group, with my kids, for my own characters. I don't know if I want to go through some of that early stuff again for a little bit. I've just done it so many times, but it's been fun every time I've done it. So I will probably wait until they will probably do some kind of Larian style definitive edition that has a bunch of patches and then probably I assume some new classes or something in there. I'll probably wait for that or new subclasses or something in there. But yeah, I'd play as a totally different character and I would just be the shittiest. Oh, they have that real shit heel. I forget what they call it. The Dark Urge. No, no.
Look, am I wrong?
He's awesome. He's great.
He's a real shit heel, though. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here.
All the characters in that game are pretty good. I find one or two. Will, the sorcerer, I'm like, that dude is not really rolling with me ever. And Lae'zel, the Githyanki, does not really roll with me. My party is Karlach, like permanent member, Shadowheart, because she can heal me up. She gets traded out when I need somebody else, and what's his face? The rogue that you just said. It's just
Asterion.
Yeah, Asterion. Because he's just fun. It's fun.
Yeah, he's a sniveling asshole.
Yeah. He's all right. Also, he does so much damage. He's so good. So good. And I'm a sorceress, so I've got the magic handle. Anyway, I would play again as that dark urge and just murder everybody in the world, and try and do as few. I'm doing the playthrough now where I explore every dialogue option and like, oh, but what if you try to negotiate between these two parties and you go do this and go do that? I would play again. I would just say nope, end it, eat someone's face, and then just move on to the next thing.
You're always saying that.
Yeah, as I get older, just my patience, who's got time for that?
Yep, time to eat someone's face. Fuck it.
Let's just go. Let's go. I continue also Alan Wake 2, the other game I'm looking to kind of wrap up before we have any kind of Game of the Year conversation or what we consider to be the end of the year. I'm not sure how much further I have to go.
I don't think it's the longest game.
Okay.
In the sense I got like 20 hours or less, probably.
So I'm still just kind of plodding through there. I still really like it. It's my same complaints that I've talked about last time of some of the environmental stuff and running around in there. I find tedious. But I like the journey I'm taking. You guys have stuff it's on your list. Yes. Zelda is another one on mine that I don't know if I will be able to wrap up, but I should probably jump back into. Where did you guys net out on the Zelda?
I ended up, I don't remember exactly how far I was in. I would estimate in the 15 to 20 hour range that I got with that. Pretty I got through the first big dungeon and kind of just spent a lot of time running around and just trying out weird builds and stuff. Yeah. I like that game. I got more out of it than I did Breath of the Wild, but like Breath of the Wild, I eventually just kind of lost my path with it, and I just never really got the energy to go back to it.
Brad, did you ever wind up going any further in it, or are you still...
My Zelda situation is classified.
Okay. On a need-to-know basis
so
only?
It's on a need-to-know basis. Yes.
Okay, good. Tell you
yes, I would like to, in an ideal world with infinite time, I would like to play that for an extended period of time.
I want to finish that.
I'm going to be out of town for back half of December, so I will have a Switch. And that seems like a good time maybe to get back to the Zelda.
Brad, how's your Final Fantasy situation?
That was another game I really wanted to finish. I got pretty deep into that. I was like 35 hours into. You're 16, I assume we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here.
Yes.
Yeah, I was pretty deep into that game. I was pretty into the story. The gameplay was kind of fine.
Not it.
It was getting a little bit rote. Well, I mean, they do unlock new powers like quite regularly through that game as you get more of the you get more monsters bound to you, and then you get their powers basically over time.
Yeah.
So they are opening up new combat stuff, but the combat does get pretty mashy or pretty. It's a character action game, hack and slash type thing at heart, which was maybe getting a little old. Also, just a lot of filler, a lot of filler between big story beats.
I'm still curious about it.
Yeah, I would love for somebody else here to play it to actually talk about it.
Yeah, look, if I can get through some of these things, and I find myself with like, look, I got my Zelda, my Alan Wake, my Baldur's Gate, my
what year is it again?
My
Baldur's Gate, Zelda, Final Fantasy.
My Forspoken and Tonto We Trust out of the way, then I'll pick up some Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I would talk about that game. The front half of that story, I was like super duper on board and was barreling through it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like basically the story that builds on the events of the demo. Like you played the demo, like the stuff, the brothers and everything. Like that stuff I found very compelling. And it was really propelling me through, and then it starts getting Final Fantasy. Like that's then interdimensional mystical bullshit starts popping off.
Yes, but
at a point,
not a terrible way, right?
It felt like a diversion, or it felt like, I mean, it was tied into the previous events of the story, but just kind of going in a direction that I was like, I liked when this was pretty grounded, like a family drama, like kind of Warring Kingdoms stuff. And then
it stopped being that.
And then a bunch of weird shit starts happening. But also other games came out. I still would like to finish that game at some point.
I'm going to read off my list of things that I have touched, things that are in my active column.
Yeah.
And
I have one too.
I've got Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Which I think I'll go back to. Forza Motorsport. I don't know if I'm putting more time back into that.
It's good. They've continued to add stuff to it, but I think if it's not something you're already playing regularly, you will not need to.
Cyberpunk, which we're playing on that feature.
That's not going on our Game of the Year list, but yes.
Starfield, this is just stuff that's in my active. Starfield, which I don't know. I don't know.
Done.
I don't know.
Starfield is very low on my priority list if I were to go back to it.
Immortals of Avium, which I'm leaving on my active list. Didn't put it onto my not active anymore. I probably should. Let's see. On Guard, which I just wanted to wrap up. I should probably take that off too. The Expanse, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool. It's still on my active list. I do have Final Fantasy 16 on here. That Aliens Dark Descent game, which I really liked. That it was that tactical shooter game.
Yeah.
I did mention this Forspoken and Tanto We Trust because I and the 4 other people who finished Forspoken just need to know. Need to know what happened. Humanity, which is a game I really liked.
Yeah, that game's cool.
I played a lot of Humanity. I don't know if I'm going to go back and do the last puzzles before the end of the year, but I really liked what I played.
Planet of Lana. I don't know if you remember that one. I'd like to finish that one up. Legend of Zelda. Dead Island 2. I don't know if I'm going back there.
It's better than expected, I would say.
Yeah.
But didn't do a ton for me.
Let's call Resident that one that performed better in than our expectations were.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, like the RE4 remake and Dead Space are two. I got very deep into both of those.
I really only played the Dead Space remake, but I did really like what they did with that.
I was like 20 hours into RE4. I would like to play more of that.
Yeah,
and I'd like to finish that and Dead Space.
Man, I forgot Kerbal Space Program 2 came out, or early access out this year. Yeah, that's Hi-Fi Rush I have on here, but I did see my son beat it. I guess that would be nice to just finish it up.
Yeah, I need. Well, let's see. What do I have here? I still have Alan Wake 2, which I've not gotten that deep into, and I need to finish. I am almost done with Thirsty Suitors, I think.
Nice. Oh, you know what? I should add that to my want to play.
You should, because that game, I think, is like maybe 10 to 12 hours max, and it's absolutely worth playing through. That is still one of my favorite things I've played this year.
I'm going to add that right now.
I think I'm like 2/3 done with the Like a Dragon Gaiden game, which is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, cool.
Which is not to say that I thought it was going to be bad, but I thought it was going to be like a minor diversion at most. But that story already is going some pretty wild directions, and I've heard that it finishes very strong. So
cool.
But it's that old Yakuza. Like, as much as they give him weird secret agent powers or whatever, it is straight up that old Yakuza.
Old Yakuza. That's Kiryu.
That old Yakuza feeling, man. I also, what was the other one that I was like, oh, I just need to do the last like couple of story missions in Spider-Man, and then I'm done with it. So I just need to actually do that.
Okay.
And then there's a handful of other things that have been floating for a while. Like, I still need to finish Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I got pretty far into that and then got distracted by other stuff. I feel like those are the ones I am most likely to finish for the end of the year because I'm pretty far into all of them, and none of them are extremely long.
I don't know how long Bomb Rush is.
It does not. I forget where I left off, but it does not feel like a game that is like dozens of hours.
Okay. Do you ever wind up finishing any of the Advance Wars campaigns?
I finished the first one.
Okay.
I did play through the entirety of Advance Wars 1 in that remake, and it was very good. And I am going to play Advance Wars 2 at some point. Other things came up.
God, how was that this year? I'm sitting here looking at this list of games from this year, and I'm just like, Like, I usually have a pretty good comprehensive view of what has come out in a given year, but what the fuck? Like, that Dead Cells Castlevania DLC came out this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
That's still on my list, but I don't think I'm going to touch it. I have to be realistic with myself.
That thing was very cool.
Yeah.
Just looking around, did anything else we might have missed here?
I might finish RoboCop. I don't know. I am picking away at that one a little bit here and there. I don't know if that's in my top 10, but I will probably give that a shout out at the end of the year of like, hey, they made a RoboCop game that doesn't suck ass. You know?
Here are my finished them games for this year, and I'll see if anything. I don't know. I'm starting with Breakout 13 because we finished that this year. Forspoken, Dead Space, Deliver Us Mars. You remember that one?
I do.
Blanc, Life of Delta, Chia, Dredge, Horizon Burning Shores, Star Wars Survivor,
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor. Sorry, stay on brand, Caravella.
God damn it.
Spider of Lanka, that's the Golden Idols mystery. Remember Mia and the Dragon Princess? That game rocked.
That was all right.
Diablo 4, Oxenfree 2, Pikmin 4, Remnant 2, completed, Fort Solis, the Lemurian Vampire, more Golden Idol stuff, Trine 5, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Spider-Man 2, and Dredge the Pale Reach. Pikmin 4, that came out this year.
That was a video game. God, dude, there's so like the System Shock remake came out this year. Like, I'm just scrolling through this list. There was so much.
Dude, shit that I have on I stopped playing. Exoprimal. Remember that?
Yes. I played more Exoprimal than I probably should have.
Street Fighter 6. That happened this year.
Yes. God.
Remember that?
What?
Crime Boss, Raquet City. That happened.
Oh, dude.
Minecraft?
That's a game of the year.
Wait. Oh, Minecraft Legends. That was
Minecraft
this year.
Legends was this year.
Damn.
Yep.
Redfall.
Redfall was this year.
Another
game I probably played more than I should have.
Bolt Gun. I put that down. That was cool though. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Let's see, Stray Gods. Trying to look, see what else. Company of Heroes 3 came out this year. Atomic Heart came out this year.
Yep, Armored Core 6.
That Metroid Prime Remastered came out this year. Yes, Armored Core came out this year. Man.
What a year.
Yeah.
What a season, what a season.
Armored Core was cool. I should play more of that.
That is one that I did play a decent amount of, and I keep trying to work up the energy to go back to. Not because I didn't like it. I was surprised how much I did. It got hard on me.
Yeah.
And I realized that was the moment where I was going to have to commit all the way to the idea of really playing around with mech builds.
Yeah.
And at that moment, there were like 3 other games I needed to be playing, so I chose the other one. And now it's been hard to go back to.
I mean, it's tough.
But that game is cool as hell.
So I'm just looking at September alone. There's like 8 games that are very notable.
Yeah.
That you didn't even read off here. Cocoon.
Cocoon. I forgot
Cocoon,
about
Payday 3, Mortal Kombat 1, Lies of P, F-Zero 99, Starfield, Chance of Senar. Like, there's like
Street Fighter came out this year.
A lot of games.
Jeez, okay. I've got to go back. I think
good.
September had so many games that I forgot to add them to my list.
September might be the biggest month of the year.
Yeah, that might win. That might win our biggest month of the year. So heads up. I mean, there's some competition there.
I didn't know we were rating size of months, but now we are. So
man.
Great.
Mortal Kombat 1, I forgot.
Yeah.
That's a completed.
Payday. I'm kind of shocked I haven't gone back and played more of that game, but I also have not played a lot of Mortal Kombat since finishing the story.
Yeah, after how much I played 11 online for like 2 or 3 months solid after it came out, I really didn't stick with the online that much in 1.
And now I'm updating all my list here. Chance of Senar, that was awesome. Karateka, that was very good. Or the making of
Karateka.
Yeah.
I almost finished Karateka in 2023. Not quite. I would still like to finish it.
Damn gate. I never played that F-Zero 99. I should.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I should.
Great.
Let me add it to my wish list.
It's very good.
Looking through here, anything else? Sonic Frontiers, The Final Horizon, that DLC. El Paso Elsewhere. Did you ever want to finish in that, Alex?
No, thank you for reminding me. I did play a bunch more of that, but I don't remember how close I got to finishing it. So now I need to do that.
Cocoon is Brad. You should try and wrap that up. I think you were pretty far.
I should. I kind of burned out on it a little bit, but I should finish it.
Lamplighters League. I never tried and I wanted to. Man, you're right. September had a shit ton of games.
Yep, a lot of stuff. Seventh Guest VR I bought last night. I have not had a chance to quite literally dust off the PSVR 2 yet.
Yeah,
to try it out, but I probably will play that for next week
because
I really want to see that still.
Endless Dungeon is a game I wanted to play. I don't know if I'll get to it. Star Trek Infinite. How did that wind up doing?
I'm not sure. I played. I don't know. I got reasonably deep into that story, but it's just. That game had a little bit too much of the old Telltale jank and not maybe enough kind of going on its own to really make up for that. It was a decent story. Like, it felt like they were telling a decent Star Trek story, but it did not grab me as much as I was hoping.
Infinite is the 4X game.
Then I did not touch that at all.
What was the one you're talking about? Is that Resurgence?
That was Resurgence, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
I forgot there were 2 Star Trek games this year.
Yeah. I think I hear Infinite was kind of in a rickety state when it came out.
That's kind of what I was asking. I had heard that as well.
Yeah, it was in a rickety state, and also it just felt pretty thin, I think, even compared to like that massive overhaul mod they applied to Stellaris at one point. Stellaris.
Yes, I've thought for a very long time about looking at that Stellaris total conversion. What is that called?
Stellaris.
New Horizons, I believe.
Stellaris.
I think that's the one. Yeah, there's a very, very highly respected Stellaris total conversion to Star Trek.
Yes. No, that thing, by all accounts, is awesome, and maybe actually better than that game ended up being.
Like, it's been in active development since 2016. I just don't know anything about Stellaris to begin with, but...
Where'd you guys land on Mario Wonder? Like...
I like it. I'll play more of it. I'll definitely show it to my nephews. And
I really wish I liked it more.
In December.
It might be fun to play. I had fun playing it co-op if you bring extra controllers with you. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Alex. I think I liked, it's Mario. It's got tight platforming and stuff like that. I think I wish I liked the gimmick stuff more in it.
Yeah, it's like okay, but it could be better.
I'm not sure I'm going to jump back in too much before the end of the year. Any of you guys play City Skylines 2?
No, it's like a big mess.
Oh, really?
Performance is like awful apparently at release. Like, I have not seen a lot of good things about the experience of playing it.
Okay.
They're working on it. But
so one thing I caught it purely as a drive-by thing, so feel free to tell me this is 100% inaccurate, but the thing I saw some people saying was that maybe some of those performance issues might have had something to do with some of the assets that they may have used AI to generate, because someone did a thing and was like, they are rendering the teeth of the people in like high resolution that are like walking around on the ground in Cities Skylines 2, and that the amount of rendering they might be doing with stuff that you actually don't really look at very much might have been causing some of that stuff.
I guess maybe some of those models could have come out of an asset store or something. I don't think nobody's using AI generated 3D models in games that I'm aware of yet.
Whatever it was, whatever they were using for like model stuff, it sounded like it was like way over way too much resolution for what it actually needed to be.
Yeah, that game definitely is having a lot of issues. I was curious about it before it came out, but it seems like it needs some pretty serious work.
Forgot about this Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. That's out, huh?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that. All right.
It's because everybody who played it died.
Oh,
damn.
You die in the Animus, you die in real life.
There is this early access Warhammer Rogue Trader game, which I'm kind of curious about for the end of the year. There is a Plumbers Don't Wear Ties Definitive Edition.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah,
coming out.
Anyway, I think that's plenty. Again, I'm just going through this year now. I'm just adding a bunch of stuff to my list, which I had forgotten about. I wonder if that Dune Flight Simulator stuff is going to come out for the end of the year. No.
I'm pretty sure I'm sure it got delayed along with the movie.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
Yeah. I would say almost assuredly that will not come out this year.
I would like to play Jusant. I would like to play Talos Principle 2. I'm not going to finish Talos Principle 2. Bummer, though. That's one of those things where I feel like if I had the infinite sprawl ahead of me, I'd probably switch into Talos Principle 2 and like put like a couple hours into it and then be like, oh, I'll come back to some of the other games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say, you know, working to a deadline, but I would like to have some stuff completed before we talk about games of the year, you know?
Yeah.
So it is kind of working towards a deadline. There was like another Dune game, wasn't there? Can't remember. Thought there was. Anyway, plenty
Dune
of video
2000.
games. Yes. The beginning and end of RTS games.
I'm looking at this right now. I feel like I have some very achievable video games in front of me, so I'm going to just focus on beating those. Sorry, Baldur's Gate. Sorry, Zelda. Probably not getting to the end of you this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest stuff I would like to go back to is actually Alan Wake, RE4, and Dead Space. So basically all the survival horror.
Okay.
I very much want to play the rest of Alan Wake. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I was still taking a PC apart and putting it back together over the break. Knock on wood. I think it's good to go now.
Yeah.
Alan Wake got inside your PC, man. He's rewriting the story.
My PC has been in the dark place most of this year. Fuck DDR5, man. I'm gonna say that right now.
As we make our way more back into Twin Peaks, I think it's pushing me to be like, I should just get through this Alan Wake stuff.
There's some synergy there for sure.
My kids were asking me. For those who don't know, we are back on the Twin Peaks bullshit for the Watchcast, which is great. And my kids
Your
were
phrasing, not mine.
the kids were asking me like, is Twin Peaks good? And I said,
what a question.
I'm not sure yet, but it's one of those things that people reference so much. I feel like it's important to see. Like, I feel like a lot of things.
It is a cultural touchstone in American television fiction.
I feel like the more I watch of Twin Peaks, the more I understand of the last 25 years and references people have made. And I feel like that's important. And you tell me, Alex, since you've seen it more or all of it, would you say Alan Wake is pulling from Twin Peaks, or it just happens to be a parallel line of Pacific Northwest stuff?
My man, if this thing is not pulling from Twin Peaks, then it is an astronomical level of coincidence going on here, because I'm just going to say right now, I'm pretty sure Sam Lake has used Twin Peaks stuff in a lot of Remedy shit over the years.
I can't just tell
Alan Wake.
if all Pacific Northwest stuff is now Twin Peaksy to me, or, you know, like, oh, are there big trees and you're running around the woods? Twin Peaks, you know, like, maybe that's a bit much, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not here to say that definitively, you know, all Pacific Northwest supernatural media is inherently Twin Peaks. Let's be real, a lot of it is also X-Files, because they filmed almost entirely that show in Vancouver. That said, I do feel like, especially in stuff like the Remedy games, in a lot of the Kojima stuff that we have talked about, including on those podcasts, they are just very directly referencing a lot of that stuff.
So is it Twin Peaks? If you have weird, eccentric kind of, not horror, but mystery in the Pacific Northwest, you're Twin Peaks.
Yep, that's all it takes.
If you have small town, New England, weird horror, you're Stephen King. If you're in the, you know, basically you can't escape it.
Or H.P. Lovecraft, one of the two.
Well, I feel like H.P. Lovecraft for me is, I guess, is a little more southern. Like
No. Lovecraft is very, like, all that shit is very New England.
Yeah,
like a lot of coastal stuff. Right?
I thought some of it's like on the bayou and like New Orleans.
No.
Okay.
No, that's crabbing country, man.
Saying there are no crabs in New Orleans, Alex.
Yeah. Where's like, what's the one on the Shadow over Innsmouth is the one I usually think of. Where's that? That's in Massachusetts. It looks like.
Yeah, I would say almost all of that stuff is very directly related to Massachusetts and surrounding areas.
All right, if you say so. Lovecraft.
I do say nerds. So. I know what I'm.
God nerds.
I know-ish what I'm talking about.
Worship your Cthulhu.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right. Enough checking out the games we hope to get to. Let's move on here, and we'll jump into the what's happening now, the here and now. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna talk about the news, is what I'm getting at. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and it is time for the news. Brad Shoemaker, where do you want to start on the news journey today?
Coming out of Thanksgiving, it's all fairly light, but let's talk about what we've got here. How about Xbox's announcement of an announcement?
I am highly anticipating some big news about this announcement of an announcement. Quite
literally, the words important announcements.
Counts down to the announcement of an announcement.
Yes, they are promoting their appearance at the Game Awards on the 7th of December, saying, sorry, let me expand this image real quick. Make sure I've got the phrasing right. Important announcements and other Xbox news that you don't want to miss.
So this is the Game Awards happening on the 7th, I think 7:30 Eastern. These are the Keeleys, as some people call them. I wish they didn't stuff the Game Awards so full of announcements, but I
think we lost that battle a long time ago.
Well, that's how they get people to watch.
That's how they get people to watch. You're totally right, 100%.
If it were not for that, I don't think they would have them anymore.
Yeah. So what's the hubbub? What has the rumor mill been churning out?
Well, nothing specific. Just kind of your standard. Here's what we know they have announced, and what do we think will be there? Let's start some rumors here. What do you got?
All right. Blasphemous rumors?
What's that?
Blasphemous rumors?
Oh, I thought you said Last of Us.
No,
I was like,
wait a minute.
I mean, there probably will be those, I guess.
Hang on. Are you saying Microsoft is going to announce an acquisition of Sony?
No, just The Last of Us.
In this article from Video Games Chronicle, they mentioned Death Stranding 2. I think that's a pretty fun one to
well, it's Kojima. Yeah.
And while obviously that's Sony, maybe there's some other shenanigans that they'll get up to.
Xbox has that other project announced with Kojima,
the horror game.
Have they put a name on that yet?
It had a code name. I don't know if it ever got beyond that.
Project Overdose, I think it seems like what's being applied to that.
Sounds
currently.
Right. Sounds what I remember.
Yeah, so he could be there with some glimpse of that, I guess.
Okay. Well, how about Microsoft specific? Anything fun you think of in the old?
Good question.
Halo.
Nope. Absolutely not.
No.
Brand new unannounced game.
Possible.
I think with the number of announced games they have that they've never shown, I would be like, fucking turn around and walk away, Microsoft.
Hardware.
If you're going to try to show another or announce another, like show another logo of a game without actually saying anything about it. That's the big one. That's the big one to me, is there was that big leak out of the, what was it, Discover? Or where did that, yeah, that's right. It was that PDF from the hearings about the Activision acquisition. Yeah, that's, that diskless Xbox Series X, like slim Series X, was referenced in there.
Yes,
like
this box has no disc.
Is there some kind of console refresh there? Of course, Phil Spencer has already said, like, we're not doing a pro console.
Yeah.
So anything they have there would just be kind of like a form factor refresh kind of thing. I mean, if they did end up shipping a diskless Series X, that would be kind of ominous for the future of having discs in consoles.
Baldur's Gate 3 date.
Yeah, they could.
Believable.
They could definitely have that.
Starfield DLC. Too early.
Yeah, that's possible. They could announce like the name of the first DLC. I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah, I don't think that one's outside the realm possibility at all.
Do they have the names and like they sold like that season pass thing with the game that
with like
that comes with DLC, and I they may have actually said what it's called in Shattered Space.
Okay.
Shattered Space, I think, is the first DLC for Starfield.
Microsoft uses it to showcase something with the new Witcher game and CD Projekt.
I'd say that's less likely.
Yeah, that's probably still pretty far off.
Hellblade date?
So Hellblade date, or actually the thing that leapt to my mind is like, what if they just put out Hellblade 2? What if they
Just
pull hey, Hellblade 2 is out now?
Ooh, it's too late. It's too late in the year.
I think that would just kneecap that game more than anything else.
Yeah, but they don't really care about selling games anymore. They just want it on Game Pass, Like that's kind of the whole play there is like, we have, what is it, 20 million Game Pass subscribers or something now? It's like, what if all of those Game Pass subscribers could turn off this award show and download this game on Game Pass that they already have?
And what if you had a new big Game Pass game to play over the holiday break also?
Yeah, like it makes me, especially as long as some of these games have gone in development without a lot of being shown.
Okay, here's Caravella's tinfoil hat. Ready? Baldur's Gate 3, because it's going to be winning a lot of awards. Microsoft wants to be like, it's on our platform also.
It's coming.
And it's on Game Pass. Baldur's Gate 3,
I'm gonna say
Game Pass
no.
announcement.
Now?
And you can play it. This award-winning game, they have a trailer with like all the awards it's won, because I don't know, that's weird, but they probably do. And they say, and it's available now to play on Game Pass.
Like anything's possible. Like if they wanted to pay enough, it's just that price tag has gone up so much in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Remember, that was actually another thing that came out of those leaked documents was there, like, I think it was speculative, or maybe it was the actual asking price for how much to get Game X on Game Pass on day one, and the Baldur's Gate price was extremely low.
Right.
And I'm sure that has gone up exponentially now.
Yeah, but
I'm also going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
Why I don't think Hellblade will do that. That is a game they absolutely do not want getting lost in the shuffle come award season, because I guarantee you half the reason they wanted to get in on the Hellblade business is they saw that as an important and award-worthy game.
Sure. Yeah.
I could see it. I mean, it would be eligible for next year's awards if it came out, but I guess games released in December do tend to get buried a little bit.
Most people who do this job can't remember 6 weeks in the past. I don't think I don't think it behooves them to do it.
I could see something coming out. I don't know what. But, I mean, Microsoft's still got so many damn games announced. Like, my God, man. I'm sitting here looking at this list. There's like 20 games on here that have been announced and basically never shown.
Fable,
absolutely, is one of them. Everwild, the Rare game.
That's not a real game.
Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, both coming from Obsidian at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Those will come out.
I could see Avowed maybe getting something at this.
They announced a bunch of stuff at E3 or not E3 that maybe they'll finally show. Clockwork Revolution, which is the new In Exile game, that steampunk-looking game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
South of Midnight was that interesting looking something on the bayou, like that was basically just a logo and like a sizzle reel trailer, teaser mood piece. State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3 is not awards stage material, but I would love to see more about State of Decay 3.
I feel like State of Decay 2 showed up in places you wouldn't expect. They made a lot of buzz about State of Decay 2. I wouldn't say State of Decay 3 is an award show ready.
Let me narrow that to the things I would like to see about a new State of Decay do not belong on an award stage.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I would say safe bet some kind of Baldur's Gate related thing, maybe not Game Pass, but like here's a date for Baldur, because I feel like they're a little behind on that. It's gonna have a lot of buzz. They wanted it out this year. They really pushed Larian for this year.
There's definitely some egg on their face on that one.
Yeah, and they announced that they're gonna let it slide with the Series S stuff. Not having the split screen co-op. They really wanted that thing out. I'm sure they want it to not say only available on PlayStation and PC, right?
It's such a weird case because, like, I'm trying to think how many times has, like, the shoe-in. I don't know if I should call it a shoe-in game of the year, but it's definitely up there. Like, how many times has that just come out of nowhere? Like, how many times has that been a thing that absolutely nobody saw filling that role until after it came out? Like, PUBG maybe is up there.
Well, to be fair, there weren't a lot of people who gave that game of the year.
Like most
Dark Souls.
Yeah,
like the first one.
That kind of came out of left field, out of Japan. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't happen, but yeah, I agree with you. I usually feel like there is, when it comes to like the close quote unquote consensus game of the year from more outlets than not. Usually those games tend to be ones that people see coming.
Outer Wilds for me. That was probably one of them. That was kind of left fielder.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to think if you're Microsoft, like how much are you kicking yourself that the Baldur's Gate situation was not sewn up better in retrospect?
It's really on them for not knowing what was there, I guess. But I don't know. I don't feel like anyone was fully expecting that thing to come out the way it did and hit the way it did.
Yeah, I wonder how early in the development they knew they were going to have those problems with the S and the local co-op and stuff, and given Xbox's or Microsoft's policies on putting out with parity, if that was going to, how far out that would push that delay, Like it seems like they just couldn't get it working at all. So I would say my easy money would be on either a date or some kind of announcement about Baldur's Gate 3. The harder money would be on the out now, and the real risky one would be on a Game Pass. But man, if they got it on Game Pass, it's a fun announcement to make for their old Game Pass. You play this game on, get it on there.
Mm-hmm.
They do have money to spend.
On whatever they want.
Some dates and some actual gameplay for a lot of these games is kind of what I would like to see the most. Like, I know people acted like there was gameplay in that Fable thing they showed previously. There was not. Just because it looks like a character jumping across. I mean, like, yes, he was swinging a sword or she was swinging a sword and throwing fireballs and stuff, but like, show me what the actual game looks like.
Yeah, of course.
If there even is one yet.
Do you think anything with Activision properties comes up?
So that's what I was thinking.
I don't know.
Well, that and Bethesda. Because Machine Games, we still haven't seen anything from that Indiana Jones game, and I wonder if that's something they might have in a state now where they can start talking about it.
Yeah, I actually don't think this list even includes that I'm looking at things like Bethesda.
Obviously, Bethesda GameWorks, like their main studio, it's DLC for Starfield if it's anything. Machine Games has kind of been quiet for a while. It feels like that Indiana Jones thing at the bare minimum is probably due to be heard about by next quote-unquote E3. Yeah. If not this.
Does Arcane have another project?
Probably not yet. With Redfall having just come out, I mean, they are a studio.
But also, keep in mind, Redfall was also still in a state.
Yeah.
Redfall was Austin. What was the last Leon game? Jesus, what is happening to my brain? Deathloop. Deathloop was the last Leon game.
Sure.
That wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, they're probably not in a place to announce something. They could announce a title or something.
Okay, here's what it is. If it's anything from Bethesda, it is Machine Games and or whatever id Software might be cooking up right now, though I think that even might be a little too early.
Yeah, there was that. What was it? Doom Year Zero was what was referenced in some of those leaked documents, but who knows what that is or was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like 3.5 years out since Eternal, so probably time to hear something from them.
I think Activision is probably too early at this point to have anything to say and show that isn't just what Activision would already be saying and showing. Because I don't think Microsoft has had enough time to exert any meaningful influence over their current dev pipeline to say, hey, here's what we have as our big slate of new Activision releases under the Microsoft banner. I
can't remember, where did they leave off with their Activision properties on Game Pass stuff? Like, I forget what their latest statement was. Was it like not this year, or?
I think they said not this year, but that it wouldn't be long.
Okay.
Yeah, something they will be looking into in 2024 or something like that.
Okay. So probably not like get Diablo on Game Pass today.
At the absolute most, they might have something from the Activision lineup to say, hey, we're adding these, handful of games to Game Pass, but I bet it is nothing that is like the newest, hottest stuff.
Or like old Call of Duties or something.
Yeah, you could put like Sekiro on there.
Yeah. Fucking Prototype, baby. Let's go.
Prototype on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I dare you.
We're talking. Is Prototype backwards compatible?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is it?
Okay.
I need to know. It's not.
Now's the time.
Man.
Prototype.
Man, what about Prototype 2?
What about Prototype 2?
Give me all the prototypes.
Yeah, give me more Infamous.
Man, neither Prototype is backwards compatible.
It's too much goo. Can't get that kind of goo on a console
Yeah.
now.
Now they own it, so they can just do it if they want.
Ugh.
Yeah, you can put the Tony Hawk remasters on Game Pass. Crash 4.
Sure.
Sekiro, like there's some games you could throw on there.
I know we're switching consoles here, but what happened to Infamous? Is that just dropped?
Yeah, I think Second Son was it. Or what was it? First Light was the add-on for that, right?
Were those not successful
I think
enough?
they did all right.
They did well, but then they made Ghost of Tsushima, and
they did not do Ghost of Tsushima money.
No.
Oh, that game did really well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Ghost of Tsushima did very well, yes.
Oh,
huge.
okay.
That is what they will probably be making for the foreseeable future, if I had to guess.
Yes.
All right. Well, I liked him.
Almost 10 million units
10 million units.
of that game is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I bet if you combined all the Infamouses together, you would probably slightly cross that number.
Aw.
No, I'm not saying there's a diss. Those games probably sold at least 2 or 3 million units each, which is not nothing. I'm just saying it's not 10 million.
Was Infamous like pre-MCU?
Yes.
Not
The original?
technically no.
Yeah.
Like the Iron Man came out in 2008.
I'm trying to think.
And
Did
Infamous
they
was,
just time it all poorly?
Infamous was 09, wasn't it, the first one?
It was, but I mean, it was a year after May
So-
09.
We had the kind of like juvenile MCU, the beginnings of the MCU at that point. Iron Man's
Iron Man was
had
the
put
first
his
of the
iron foot in the ground.
Kind
I
of
don't-
modern era.
I don't think you can blame Iron Man for Infamous not being a huge hit.
Oh, I'm not. No. I'm saying
Yeah.
if the superhero games had come out during the height of the MCU, like it could have boosted. Everybody wants a superhero game,
Or
Maybe
it
they
would
came
have
out
been
too
the
early.
opposite, and nobody would have paid attention to it because it wasn't the superheroes they were seeing in the movies.
You're right. Yeah. I thought maybe it would have boosted it, but because people want the hot superhero games, and Marvel has not delivered on that front really. Maybe with the XCOM-ish one. Anyway, what do you think wins their biggest game of the year award?
Probably Baldur's Gate.
You think Baldur's Gate?
Which is an interesting question, especially having worked in the games press, because it's really just a meta question of what you think the people who are on the jury for this will vote for. And in that context, it's definitely Baldur's Gate.
What do you think is a tight runner-up?
Zelda.
Because I would probably
Zelda.
say Baldur's Gate as well. Would you say
Zelda.
Zelda? Okay.
In fact, I would say that
yeah.
there's actually an outside chance that Zelda might still win it.
Yeah, that definitely is possible.
Sure.
I'm gonna guess it's Baldur's Gate, especially just kind of knowing when the voting happens, knowing that Baldur's Gate fever was at its height around that time. But yeah, I would say Zelda is the other main contender here.
Okay.
I was just doing a little bit of sales lookup on Infamous stuff. I mean, you know how vague that stuff can be, but the last time anyone checked in on the first game, it had sold around 2 to 3 million units, it looks like.
Okay. All right.
2, it's harder to find because it sounds like they stopped, or at least on Wikipedia, they stopped updating it after the first month's sales, but it did sell like 300,000 copies its opening month.
All right, that is the Game Awards, and specifically Microsoft's announcement of their announcement during the Game Awards. That's happening December 7th. I think that's a Thursday.
It's interesting after the last 2-3 years. Like, it's something you actually really have to pay attention to now, because the caliber of announcements that he's gotten for that thing has gone up and up.
Yeah,
So
though
like,
you can kind of watch the digest.
of course. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to watch the show, but I mean, more to the point, like, there will be definitely meaningful news coming out of there. I mean, I still cannot believe he got the freaking reveal of the next Xbox on that thing.
Was that
Like,
on there?
Yes, the Series X was was unveiled. The name, the look, everything was unveiled on the Game Awards.
What's the other? We talked about it last week or the week before. Is it Rockstar? After some leak is going to have
GTA 6.
Yeah,
Presumably, I mean, it's possible they'll just do their own thing, but
I think did they not confirm Game Awards? Or
No,
they just said December?
They just said trailer will be out in December for the 25th anniversary.
Okay. All right.
Or whatever.
Keep them eyes peeled. Brad, where do you want to head to next?
Couple of quick updates on the shambles that is the video game industry.
Okay, yeah.
From the acquisitions gone wild department. Remember when Unity bought Weta Digital?
I do remember that, and trying to at least parse exactly what they got and what does that mean, and
well, I guess
tools and people and
whatever it was they got, they are now shutting it down.
It's such a
what they got was the like back end part of Weta Digital, like the people that develop the tools that the artists then use to make visual effects. Like the rest of like the Weta. I think like the Weta that takes contract work to do VFX for movies stayed with Peter Jackson.
That's Weta Effects, right?
I guess they changed their name to Weta Effects just to distinguish themselves.
Okay.
I think Weta Digital was like the hardcore, R&D side of things that developed the actual tools and software. Because you can absolutely see the applicability of that stuff to a video game engine, right? But anyway,
yeah,
those. I don't know if it's the total employees that came along as part of that deal, but 265 of them are being laid off.
And this is part of Unity's whole figuring out what Unity is.
Unity just literally tightening the belt after
the
buying a bunch of stuff.
Reboots.
Buying a bunch of stuff during the pandemic, and then, here we are.
Well, I mean, it's impossible not to mention their fumbled rollout of their new pricing plan, which was not that long ago, where they had to course correct quite a bit.
Oh yeah, they got Riccatello'd.
You did it to yourself, Unity.
Yeah, I mean, they keep all that technology, of course. They're just kind of shedding the human part of it, and that kind of ongoing work. Apparently, original Weta says they are going to rehire as many of those people as they can.
Oh, okay.
Because why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they know the tools, and yeah,
Peter Jackson making out like a bandit here.
Mm-hmm.
So wild.
Like
I hope they get rehired with good salary, and that's maybe a positive in the end. Then I don't know how people's lives are affected by all of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
relocations, and especially
if people had to relocate out of New Zealand for this and stuff, it's not great. But the point I'm making is like, and I don't know if he has the ambition to even start that part of the business back up fully, but if he did, like the idea of selling it to somebody who fucks it up so bad, you just rehire all those people and start it back up again.
Yeah, right.
Like the institutional knowledge presumably is still fairly intact, right? Like you could
totally
probably spin that part of that arm of the business back up fairly smoothly if you wanted to.
Riccatello's out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Gone.
Okay.
No, he's quote unquote retired.
Oh, right. Yes, right. Retired.
Yes.
That's Unity and the Weta Digital portion of Unity. And then, Brad, what's the other piece of on fire gaming industry you've got?
Embracer, perhaps you've heard of it, has said that they are looking to shut down Free Radical.
So we had heard some of this before, right?
I think that they may have mentioned their name in the. I mean, they've been laying off and shuttering studios left and right. They may have mentioned Free Radical before.
And this version of Free Radical is not the original one, though it does have some of the original people. It was started up to bring back TimeSplitters.
Yeah, it seems like the idea was, hey, we got the TimeSplitters IP, we should start that studio back up with some of the original people to make a new TimeSplitters, and
they were technically under Play On, right?
Yeah, which used to be Koch Media,
right?
I saw just a weird me thing. Like David Doak, who's one of the founders of Free Radical, he's there. Like I remember interviewing that guy for the original TimeSplitters games 20 years ago when they were on press tours and stuff. So like, point being, it is absolutely like legit original TimeSplitters people here at this studio.
Yeah.
But seems like they are going to get shut down with ever having gotten to ship a game.
So
way to go, Embracer.
On the Story on Video Games Chronicle, they're under some kind of plan or review, and that ends.
It's
December
a UK
11th?
studio, and as part of their labor laws, you are not allowed, I think, to do this kind of en masse layoff unless you can prove to the labor board that like there's not another option.
I see.
And so like think what that basically entails is, can you find places for these people to go work elsewhere in your company? Are there other ways to go about this? It doesn't mean you can't just shutter the company and lay it off, but there's extra steps you have to go through. And so, but the thing the story also mentions is that like half that team has already updated their LinkedIn to say, hey, I'm looking for work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like apparently they are looking around for a buyer. If they could like find somebody interested in acquiring the studio before the deadline, they would consider selling it instead. But if if most of the talent is already looking for new jobs, that seems tough.
That's a harder road to hoe, yeah.
So anyway,
this has to be the worst year for people who make games since the last bubble blow up, right?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the numbers on what happened during the last 2 or 3 years in terms of growth. Was it like a huge growth year? But this,
I mean, COVID fucked a lot of things up in terms of like those metrics and like kind of what generally like was considered, normal operating and normal growth for studios, because everything kind of got thrown into disarray. But in terms of jobs lost, and especially in comparison to the general health of the economy of games and selling of games, I can't think of a year worse for the people who actually did the work and made those products, especially a year where those products were still selling and doing well.
Yeah, I don't remember doing this many contraction stories.
It's hideous, is what it is.
It's really. I do wonder again, like net. Is the industry bigger at the end of 2024 than it was at the end of 2021? But yeah, I think to your point, where it feels like games are still coming out and selling very well, I'm not sure what. I mean, I don't know. I'm no economist. I'm not sure what the hell's happening.
Well, the thing is, none of us could be an economist in this industry anyway, because numbers are so obfuscated now that it's impossible to actually know what the metrics for success are. And with some publishers like a Square Enix, those metrics never appear to actually exist. But like, it just feels like none of what is happening with these jobs has anything to do with the actual economy of selling games, and everything to do with a lot of bad bets that management at these various companies have made. And again, the thing that makes it so galling is that it's not like this is an economic downturn situation. Obviously, some of these companies are losing money because of things that they thought were going to happen and did not. But very few of these developers, these games, these companies that are suffering this stuff, put out games that just flat out bombed this year. Some of them didn't even put out games, period.
I think some of the stuff I have read, again, not an economist, it's just with the rate of borrowing money being high, that
right, it was the interest rates.
Yeah, that some of this is just funding projects has gotten too expensive.
It was a bunch of stuff. I mean, the interest rates were historically low for a long time, so it was a bunch of free money. Like, I think consumer spending was up quite a bit early in the pandemic because everybody was sitting at home with nothing to do, and so they started buying stuff. So, like, there was just kind of a general surge in activity in the business world that, as usual, went to the heads of the management, and they went on hiring sprees.
Right.
And assumed that this was going to last forever, which, of course, it never does.
No.
And again, I'm not an economist. My anecdotal part of this, I'll add the mass consolidation. Like, we have heard, I think it's 900 so far at Embracer. So when you have these super top heavy consolidated companies that now own, fistfuls of studios, I think when they make bad $2 billion bets, it really ripples throughout.
Totally.
When one of those big things goes out, a leg comes out, they just cut with a butcher's knife.
100%.
Right through. Whereas, when you had smaller studios, a big percentage of a smaller studio is maybe 25 people got laid off or something like that. Now we have hundreds of people just losing their jobs.
And again, there are very few companies that have not had some layoffs. Like in some cases, they have not actually affected, core dev teams, but it's been people like administrative, PR, IT, various other things. It does not feel like any part of this industry was actually immune from this.
No, it really doesn't. No. And, I think those are all knock-on effects too, right? Like, when Microsoft pulls back, that means less money's going out to smaller studios to build games. And
And you're hearing anecdotally from people like just saying like, hey, we're running into a situation where we are having a harder time pitching games and getting publishing deals and making stuff happen right now because everyone is in this weird terror spot of not wanting to overcommit, especially with the possibility of retraction or, contraction happening. But, the other thing I keep hearing is that like some of these people are like, yeah, we'll talk again next year. What's going to change next year? What is actually happening next year that will change any of this?
They'll feel better. Like,
I guess.
Quite literally, that's it. Like so much of what happens in the business world is based on like vibes and feelings.
I mean, it is possible interest rates go down next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think also we'll see what happens in development in 2 years, right? We're always on a delayed reaction to this stuff, right?
Definitely makes me wonder if there's going to be some kind of lull in releases in like roughly a 2-ish year period.
Might even be sooner than that. Like next year, like we'll see what the holiday season looks like, but there's some stuff in here that makes me think that it might not be what this year was.
There might be some course correction in this industry that is needed to, as development gets much more complicated and these big AAA games soak up so many resources, the bets become so big. Maybe there is, and the consolidation of the studios becomes ridiculous. I mean, this has been a ridiculous 3 years of acquisitions for studios. So maybe there needs, and I think you've said this a lot specifically, Alex. The middle is cut out, right? Like we have smaller studios and gargantuan.
Well, it's not cut out; it was swallowed by Embracer.
Yeah. So I really think we'll have a post Embracer story to tell because they came in, destroyed the place, and look, maybe it's worked out well for a lot of studios. It obviously has not worked out well for some. I don't know, but I think they are part of this story of the 2020s, let's say.
I think they are at the forefront of this story in a lot of ways. And, they put themselves there because they clearly were going after something that they thought they had and they did not have it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. Whatever it is wild. Brad, what's your next story?
Remember Agent?
I didn't until I saw this video you posted with Jack Tritton talking about it. But remind us.
I hadn't even seen it. I didn't even pull the video up, but I just the big black background with the severe white letters that just say Agent, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how interesting this is to people who didn't cover video games professionally in the PlayStation 3 era. But yeah, once upon a time, Rockstar announced an exclusive partnership with Sony to make a game called Agent. And then that game just kind of never came out.
Yep.
And then I think there have been follow-ups in recent years where they like renewed the trademark a few times and then finally let it lapse or something, right? And like the site went down at some point. Stuff like that. Like, clearly the game's never going to come out, but I very much was always just, I didn't even like care about the pitch that much of the game. It was more just a like, how do you announce a partnership like this and just let the game die on the vine and never address it? Anyway, the former technical director of Rockstar North posted a blog post and then pulled it.
It was on Rock Paper Shotgun, right?
No, I believe that's them reporting. I think it was just on his blog.
Okay.
What I'm getting from this. I believe RPS just wrote up bits of it before he pulled the blog.
Apparently those Rockstar NDAs are not to be fucked with even 10 years later.
Seriously.
Yeah, man, I would not fuck with that at all if I could help it.
But also what he says is just like the most baseline, like, oh, well, yeah, I guess this is what we could have guessed if we had really thought about it kind of information.
It's like the least interesting thing you could imagine about a game called Agent.
Yeah.
Frankly. It was a James Bond game, and Jimmy is the Scottish version of James. So I guess there was going to be a Scottish character. The game is going to be set in the 70s, be more linear than Grand Theft Auto with a number of locations. There was a French Mediterranean city, a Swiss ski resort, Cairo, and at the end there would be a big shootout with lasers in space.
Beautiful.
Sounds like this was pre-GTA 4. And essentially they worked on it for a while, but then the rest of the studio, everybody got pulled onto GTA 4.
Yeah.
Like the game's not shaping up super well, and they needed everybody to get GTA 4 out.
And then it just kind of got left to the side from there on out.
We tried to cut the game down in an attempt to get the bulk of it done before the inevitable call for Rockstar New York would come.
Mm-hmm.
We cut out an entire level, I think Cairo, and maybe even the space section. Yeah. Became clear that Jimmy was going to be too much of a distraction for us, and we ditched it. Yeah. So, nothing like revelatory there, but that has always been a gigantic blank to me for years of just like they announced that at E3 on stage with the then head of SCEA out there saying, hey, exclusive game with Rockstar. That just never happened.
I mean, you asked the question of like, how does a thing like that end up just getting tossed to the side and never spoken of again? I think if you're Rockstar, it's actually very easy to understand how that happened because the second you say, we had to finish a Grand Theft Auto, all other things cease to matter. I understand how that happens. I don't necessarily love it, but I get it. With Sony, I could definitely see them being very sore about that because, you know, Grand Theft Auto used to kind of be a PS2 like star. You know, like a lot of those like PS2 era like Rockstar games were kind of the biggest things on their platform. So the idea of getting an exclusive from them probably meant a lot at that time, especially for the PS3.
Yeah, especially when they were kind of a bit on the back foot against the 360.
But then at the same time, what are you going to do? Tell Rockstar you're not going to put out their games on their platform? Fucking course you're not. So at most, all you can do is just kind of, I hate to use the internet parlance, cope and seethe. Like, just say, fuck this, whatever, so they never speak of it again. But like, yeah, I like Rockstar saying, nah, this thing that isn't Grand Theft Auto isn't working, just make Grand Theft Auto, is the least surprising thing in the world.
Yeah, and, you know, of course, as for a company as image obsessed as Rockstar is, of course, they're not going to come out and be like, yeah, it wasn't coming together, this isn't happening anymore.
Yeah.
It's easier to just, especially when everything else you're doing is on top of the world, like just leave it be.
Well, and that's right around the time they really stopped making things that were not Grand Theft Auto or RDR related. Like table tennis obviously came out on the 360 at launch, but like
Warriors,
they're not making the Warriors. They're not making Manhunt anymore at that
Bully.
point. Yeah.
I think, wasn't there some leak that hinted toward a Bully 2 at some point recently?
I do remember something along those lines. I don't remember how long ago it was or how realistic that sounded.
Yeah, they became a one-game company at some point.
Can I read you the statement from the blog about why it was taken down?
Sure.
This is what it says on Rock, Paper, Shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, some of the OGs there are upset by my blog. I generally didn't think anyone would mind me talking about 20-year-old games, but I was wrong. Something about ruining the Rockstar mystique or something. Anyway, this blog isn't important enough to me to piss off my former colleagues in Edinburgh, so I'm winding it down. I'll maybe just leave a few articles with anecdotes that don't affect anyone but me. I would love for Rockstar to open up about development of the trilogy themselves, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe I'll try again in a decade or two.
Is there truly anything less valuable at this point than the Rockstar mystique?
I don't know. This was all
Does it
Blogger,
matter anymore?
So that's a bummer. That's a bummer. I would love to hear some of that stuff. I just clicked through to his actual blog, which is inside rockstarnorth.blogspot.com. Which is an amazing era-appropriate URL for your blog.
God.
Did you see the sorry you missed it?
Yeah, sorry you missed it. I've decided to take the blog down. It's come to my attention. Some of my former colleagues don't enjoy it as much as I thought they would. No pressure from Rockstar, my own choice.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Don't want to piss off your former coworkers. Totally understand. Not mad about it, but also, look, what are you even protecting at this point?
I don't know. The Rockstar mystique.
It doesn't exist anymore.
It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. After Dan Houser left, after the Bens left, and after all the weird shit around, the Rockstar San Diego, like, crunch stuff and everything going on, there is no mystique anymore. Rockstar is just a company that makes very big video games. They are not an unknowable black box. They're just people that make very big video games.
I guess I could have put this in the news. There's been going around that Absurd Ventures, which is Dan Houser's new company, has been hiring up some of the brain trust from Rockstar.
I mean, that doesn't surprise
recently.
me.
Like Laszlo is there now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably unsurprisingly, the bigger one, who I'm actually not familiar with, Michael Unsworth, but he was the...
I know that name.
I think he was like the head writer on Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes. He did a lot of the co-writing, I think, on the last couple of big Rockstar games.
Oh, actually, yeah. GTA 4 and 5, Max Payne 3, Red Dead. Both Red Dead games. So, like, yeah, Hauser, unsurprisingly, Hauser is hiring up some of the people that he worked with.
I mean, in a way, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily for Rockstar. I mean, look, it really remains to be seen what version of Grand Theft Auto we get in GTA 6, but that is a studio that absolutely needs to start fostering younger talent and start, like, figuring out what the next 10 years of that company looks like, because the old guys just being there forever is not a thing that is going to help them last past, the next. I mean, look, GTA 6 will sell 1 billion copies. I'm not saying anything to that effect, but if they ever want to make anything that isn't just GTA and GTA Online and actually have people respond the way they do to stuff like GTA, I do think they have to start developing a lot more new talent in those upper echelons of the company.
Agreed.
Let me add, before we leave Rockstar, did you guys see this news that Netflix is publishing or doing the mobile versions of the trilogy?
Yeah, the definitive edition coming to mobile exclusively under Netflix.
What
did they make those versions good finally?
I don't know. But like Rockstar playing Rockstar playing ball with Netflix is kind of unexpected.
Are we in?
Honestly, getting like some prominent indie games through Netflix onto your phone is one thing, but freaking GTA?
I don't know. There is one more news of the weird story here. The will they, won't they? I guess we started with, you said, Brad, what year is it, right? So we were talking about Zelda, we're talking about Baldur's Gate. How about Beyond Good and Evil?
How about it?
How about...
By God, that's Beyond Good and Evil's music, King.
So really, the only reason I want to mention this story about Beyond Good and Evil's 20th anniversary and some remaster of Beyond Good and Evil getting an anniversary edition, or whatever it is, which is leaked out. They accidentally sent some unfinished copies to Ubisoft, or is it Ubisoft Plus? Is that the name of their thing? Yes, Ubisoft Plus. They accidentally sent some unfinished code to people on there. I have not found any stories of people being able to capture it or play it or do anything, so I don't know what the story is there, though Ubisoft did say this version is not indicative of the final game, so...
Like people played it. That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if this has ever happened before. They literally distributed an unfinished build of the game before the game was even announced, and like people on their Surface played it.
I don't know how that happens.
That's wild.
It's not supposed to come out until early 2024. They immediately went out and were like, we're announcing this, after they had their leak. It is a Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary edition. They still did not go into exactly what that means, what's in the 20th anniversary edition, but I wanted to talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Finally, someone is talking about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh, I should mention, okay, so there was an Xbox listing, they did have this part, that's no longer there, that said it would have 4K, 60 frames per second, improved graphics, so that is something. And a new autosave and cross-save, so that is something.
Is that like the first actual re-release of that game?
Re-release or updated release?
Like I tried to look around and see if I would have sworn it had gotten some kind of remaster already.
I thought it did
remaster.
Too.
It might have been backward compatible.
Yeah,
I thought somewhere.
The original version is on Steam, so it's not like you can't buy it. But I would have thought it had gotten touched up at some point, but maybe not.
That game's all right.
Yeah.
I never played it, but people sure do seem to like it.
I haven't played it in like 20 years, actually, now that you mention it. But I remember it being pretty good.
Hang out with your pig friends.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, he's a cool guy.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, a game that is starting to acquire Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 status.
Let me just say it right now, that game's never coming out.
Yeah.
Never coming out?
Never coming out.
If I had to guess, I would also say it is never coming out.
Never, ever coming out.
Never coming out.
look, I'm just doing the Dave Lang thing here, okay? I'm saying it will never happen because secretly deep down, I would love to see that thing come out, and I would love to have someone point at me and say, "Ha, you were wrong." But that's actually my secret plan. I want to be wrong. But look, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about this.
We said about Duke Nukem Forever, and there at some point a Duke Nukem Forever came out. Right?
Okay, so if we can dupe Randy Pitchford into making a terrible business deal and putting out a janky-ass version of that game, then we can make this happen.
Was Baldur's Gate 2? Was Beyond Good and Evil the one where they had the asset thing where you can contribute you can build assets for it and it would appear and you could get compensated somehow?
It was through that Hit Record company that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was part of.
Oh man,
people did not love that thing.
Is that still around?
Fuck if I know, dude.
I don't think so.
I haven't even seen JGL in a movie in a while, so I don't know.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, never. Michel Ancelo's not even there anymore, right? He's gone.
Never.
He's like fairly long gone, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, he was out of there around the time they were kind of purging a bunch of execs around the Me Too stuff.
Is anybody working on Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Like 4 guys in a closet in Montreal, maybe.
Like, Gordon-Levitt's on it. He's I got some new hot tracks.
Somewhere, someone has a computer screen in which a pig is being rendered in exquisite detail, but I could not tell you if there is a game there or not. Man,
that's all I wanted to really talk about. I saw one of the memories can say from my time in the game when this whole thing's done and the Embracer Group has hollowed out what is left of this industry. I could say to my children and their grandkids, I once saw someone play a build of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Someone was on what was it, like a flying car going through a city?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the Fifth Element. Like,
it was the Fifth Element.
It was the demo was just the Fifth Element. It was just, hey, we're in this city. It's a bunch of flying cars. We're flying around in here.
Look, it was Jack and Daxter 2, and it was amazing. And
then they showed off their, hey, now we can fly all the way out in space tech.
And I remember them talking about billboards that users could create or something, or track, whatever it was. Anyway, next year, Beyond Good and Evil Anniversary Edition, or if you've got the unfinished copy, maybe you're playing it now. I have no idea. Oh, Ubisoft.
Always great stuff going on over there.
Always being Ubisoft. Damn rabbits in the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to do it for the news. Next week, let's see. So next week, we will not catch the Game Awards, but we will have the
I don't watch those.
You know what? Well, it's going to be Thursday, so it'll be after our recording, but chances are something's going to leak. So we'll probably have something pre-Game Awards to talk about. If there's new Xbox hardware, I bet you that leaks. That'll get out there before. Xbox is pretty good, but they're not the best about keeping those leaks in. If it's Kojima, he's pretty good, actually. Think about all the people he's going to be able to scan.
I mean, he just got Timothy Chalamet pretty recently, so...
Does he just have that thing on in the back of a truck, just ready to go?
No, Timmy was in Japan, and I guess went by the offices. I'm going to assume that was probably a Keeley brokered thing.
Okay.
Again, there's a trade going on there. Celebrities for Kojima, exclusives for Keeley. This is my bold statement.
You get me Chalamet.
And somewhere in that office, there is a server that has the minds of all those celebrities trapped inside.
I'm thinking kind of maybe Futurama, like Head and Jars style, except it's like screaming faces of souls and like digital shards on a shelf, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like he would walk in and they just scream like the cover of the Gabriel Knight game with that person's face just screaming and stretching. And then Kojima just turns the light off and laughs. And, another one. I got another one. Are they actually getting scanned, or I don't believe the bullshit
Some
anymore.
of them are.
Are they? Okay, because I feel like maybe the fiction in my head has intersected with reality in a way that's confusing it. Are they all getting scanned every time I see a picture?
Some of them he posts photos of in the scanning rig. Other times he just says, Timothy Chalamet came to our studio, and you just kind of have to infer that that's probably what happened.
Wasn't it Elle Fanning was the one that they actually posted pictures of her in the rig or something?
It was her, and there was the director of RRR was also there, and I remember there was a photo of him in the scanning rig.
To be scanned by Kojima.
You have to be a certain baseline of famous in order to get in there. I don't think we meet it.
What's at the bottom? Is it Keeley? what is it, or is that just the enabler?
I think Keeley's in there, but I mean, let's be real.
I mean, he's definitely in there because he was in Death Stranding.
Yeah, but I think that's more of a Renfield situation.
It's Keeley just eating bugs, getting
Master,
people.
Master, I've brought you the twink from America.
Yeah, when's
the
Kojima
famous Doom twink is yours.
When's Kojima going to scan Tom Waits?
Oh
God!
Yeah, somebody needs to get him in there. What am I doing here?
Why is no one trying to get Tom Waits into video games?
I don't know. You should at least get him.
He's got a voice,
something.
man.
Yeah. Have him do the intro for Starfield or something.
God, yeah. Give me that fucking gravel voice, man.
We're in space. Nobody can hear us anymore. I got a big ship. All right. We're going to go on. We're going to leave the news there. And
no more Tom Waits impressions for today.
No. The voice can only handle really milliseconds of it before
it all goes bad.
I ran out of hot asphalt to gargle. That's the news. We've got an email address here. It is podcast@nextlander.com. Podcast@nextlander.com. And just because it's the third time, podcast@nextlander.com. Brad Shoemaker, what do we got in the old email bin?
I'm going to keep it short here because I think voice is a finite resource this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got a couple here. There's one from Anders. Writing about the phrase activate your dog.
Okay.
Anders from Stockholm says, hi dudes, another Swede with a dog here, thinking the phrase activate your dog isn't too weird, but as I'm not a native English speaker, I'll defer to you on this one. In Swedish, we talk about aktivering, I don't know how my pronunciation is there, but which translates directly to activation, and when used about dogs, basically means a way to make them think and do work, etc., so they get to be active and have a job to do. Examples include tracking, agility, dog parkour. Our favorite one until our dog tore both of his rear ACLs and so on. I have no idea what the proper English term would be. I saw the episode title and thought, yeah, keep your dogs activated. It's important.
I don't know if we have the English equivalent.
Well, active, I think, is more closely like
keep
the way
active.
we would say it is like just, like not activation, just being active.
keep them activated, keep them engaged, maybe something like that. Yeah,
okay.
I will say from the perspective of American English, activating sounds like machinery generally. Would you say that's accurate? Like you activate a machine or electronics or something?
Or somebody who has been like hypnotized or encoded with some secret mission, you activate by some sequence of special unknown means,
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, the phrase conjures up the idea of like pressing a button on the dog to power it up.
For me, it's more like you've said the code word and your dog is now an assassin.
Sure. Yes.
You've activated your dog to go must kill the queen style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now we're going to need another follow-up email about dog parkour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the stuff they make them do at the dog shows, right?
I no, that's just going through hoops, right? I'm talking like I'm looking for some Mirror's Edge type stuff. Dogs on top of buildings, running on walls. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
If you said activate your dog and your dog is now an assassin doing parkour, this all checks out. Brad, what else you got?
Yeah, all right, let's do one more here. Jerry from the Netherlands. Who knows if this is real or not, but it's a fun thought experiment anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I recently came across this tweet on the Twitter account Fesshole. He explains how that account works is people can send their anonymous confessions through a Google form and selected messages get tweeted out on the account. Again, who knows or cares if this is real? This is the contents of the tweet in question. I am a game developer who worked on 2 very popular games for an extremely successful and well-known game franchise. At an office party, our boss got drunk and fell asleep, so we put a dildo in his mouth and took a photo, then hid the photo in the game.
Huh.
Nobody has found it yet.
Oh boy.
Jerry asks, considering this account is UK-based, what's the most likely game to have this picture included, and what's the most fun answer? I think I only have one answer for both of those.
Yes.
It's Fable.
That's what jumped into my mind too, but okay, when you say Fable, you mean original Fable, and you mean there's a picture of Peter Molyneux.
One of the original Fables, yes.
Really, Fable 2 and 3, I don't know.
But I guess the bigger question is, are you talking about there's a picture of Peter Molyneux with a dildo in his mouth? Is that what you're implying?
I don't know. That's what this is implying.
Okay. Sorry, what can you who has the dildo in their mouth? Is it the boss or not the head of the studio?
At an office party, our boss got drunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a rough one that you're probably pretty glad nobody's found, because I feel like that doesn't go over well. You know? That's probably one.
Like stranger things have happened.
Oh yeah.
We just came off a story about Ubisoft shipping an unannounced game to subscribers.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
What was the infamous story? What was the PlayStation 1 game that shipped with the pirated episode of South Park on it?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like on the CD, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I think there was like a straight up DivX file of a South Park episode that was just sitting there on the PlayStation disc.
Was it?
God, I forgot about that.
Wait, was it a South Park or was it that Spirit of Christmas South Park thing that got passed around?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
It was something South Park they did not have the rights to. I know that.
Yeah. It was. I think it was a full on Okay, I thought it was golf. Yeah, Tiger Woods 99 PGA Tour.
Yeah. Truly have no idea how that would have happened.
Look, the tools for versioning stuff that would go on the CD weren't as mature back then. Okay, you just burned whatever that folder was, and people had a good time back then. It was a good time had by all. Fable's a good one. Maybe I'm trying to think of a defunct company where you'd be okay. What was Blizzard Creations or the Bizarre Creations? Bizarre Creations. So maybe something there.
I mean, what if it was Rockstar?
What if it was Rockstar?
Certainly a possibility.
I could see that for sure. Yeah. Somebody would have found it by now.
Yeah, you're right. Those games are data mined to the absolute hilt.
Yeah, so. Again, entirely possible that this is a bunch of bullshit, but it is fun to think about things getting hidden in game installs and shipped to the public.
Oh, yeah, conceptually, I'm on board.
I think, was it Lang or Johnny or somebody at some point was talking about stuff that used to get packed into the Midway stuff and that had not been found. It's like stuff in, wasn't there stuff in like the credits or something of one of the hockey games?
I think I remember them talking about stuff like that. I mean, there's even stuff that makes it into games that like is not scandalous or even intended to be there. They just didn't bother to take it out.
Yeah, right.
God, I can't remember all the particulars. Like one of the big Valve games, is it TF2 or there's some Valve game I think where an asset from a different one of their games is in there, but if you remove that asset, even though it's not seemingly used in the game, if you remove that file from the install, the game fails to launch.
Okay, it's
like a coconut or something. I think
it's the coconut test. It's
like the ins and outs of like what makes up a video game and how it runs are fascinating to me.
It's their piracy check. If you don't have the coconut, you can't run this game. All right. Is that going to do it for the emails?
Yep. Let's call it there.
That's going to do it. Again, that is podcast@nextlander.com. You can send us an email. We'll go through them all. Check them out. If you missed it, over on the Watchcast side of things, we have wrapped up our Ninja Time, our Ninja exploitation adventure with Miami Connection. That is up now. Is it the Miami Connection or just Miami Connection? I think it's just Miami Connection, right?
Yes, Miami Connection.
Miami Connection is up now. You can go check it out. And we have moved back into the Pacific Northwest, like I mentioned before, with Twin Peaks. What happened to Coop? Nobody knows.
Well,
except for me. Now. Well, that people are going to have to go to patreon.com/Nextlander, and we're the only ones who know, and you can watch it or listen to it on Monday's Watchcast. That's when we're jumping back in, and we are going straight through this season, correct?
Season 2, yeah. We're not going to do the entire series all in a run, but we are going to finish out Season 2 beginning to end.
Nice. How many episodes?
It is 22 total.
And aside from this one, and maybe towards the end,
I think the finale will also be one episode, but the rest will all be 2 episodes.
So you can check that out. Come join us. That show starts off weird. It's fun.
It's Twin Peaks, man.
I don't know. I'm just here for the ride, man. I'm here for the ride, baby. I don't like the way you're smart talking. You,
Agent Cooper. The Batman's here.
What a show.
Oh, Andy.
Come join us for that over at patreon.com/Nextlander. We got Never Been a Better podcast. I think we've got over a dozen episodes stacked up over there. You can go check them out. We got the Ramblecast, while Planorama. We have a patron Q&A coming up, and you can go vote on Friday for Friday's Patron's Choice stream, where I think Lethal Company is in the lead, and Abby Russell has agreed to join us for Friday. I've double-checked with her because it was in the lead to make sure she could make it. Trying to go in there with crew of 4 this time. Alex, you and I went in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough.
It was not enough people.
It was lethal, but maybe in the wrong way. And now we'll have to explain to Brad and Abby about checking the map out if it wins. I mean, people can still vote. There's other stuff on there.
It's still, let's say, far in the lead.
Okay.
I would very much like to play that game.
It's cool.
A hoot.
And tough. I will say it was one of the first of those games, like the Phasmophobia style ones, where it really did seem like, no, you need somebody in the truck talking to you, like coordinating. You should not be out on your own. At least with a team of 2. Seems cool, so you can check that out on Friday or go vote. Again, patreon.com/Nextlander, where we get your support. It keeps us going. There are a bunch of different tiers there. You can find a tier that fits your lifestyle and that is right for you. One of those tiers, the Mysterious Benefactor tier, gets their names read on this here show, and I'm going to read them for you right now. Starting with Ryan Waterman, RRE, Infelicitous Rips, Kelly F., Brian Lucier, Skywarp, John Hubbard, Sean Miller, Brad's Clean Shaved Hoodoo Voodoo, Evan Cook, Mark Wilhelm, Jerry Lee, Deidre declares that turkey sucks, ham rules, Gary Pejke, Robert Fisher, John McInnes, Llama Magic, Peter Reardon, Jad Rita, Statics, Andrew Jackson, Mega Crane, Razgriz 2, Brian Murphy, Randy Duax, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It's Me JP, Matt Clements Jr., Edward Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese. Thanks to all our mysterious benefactors, and thanks to everyone who has gone to support us over at patreon.com/Nextlander. Can't do it without you. We got our streams we just mentioned. We got our Patron's Choice coming up. We got our grab bag coming up. Time to grab some bags and get to it. We'll check some stuff out there. Brad, do you think you might check out that Doom thing, the Doom roguelike thing?
Yeah, I played Doom Infinite as a mod for Doom that turns it into a roguelike. Maybe not yet.
Okay.
What is out now is a demo of the mod.
Right, yes.
And so it's pretty unfinished and a bit rough right now, but maybe
curious about what that could be. It's like a good mix. I wonder if why that hasn't been done yet, right? Like,
yeah, it's weird because it's made for GZ Doom, which practically turns Doom into like a modern shooter with mouse look and everything. So I don't know that you can. I would love to play it on like real original Doom, but I'm not sure if that's actually possible.
Interesting.
It seems like what you would expect a Doom roguelike to be. There's a codex with like 100 item slots with question marks on them.
Sure, okay.
And I unlocked like 3 of them.
That sounds fun.
In terms of items you'll get on runs and stuff.
The Doom runs.
Yeah.
Not since Taco Night here at the Caravellas. I've had the Doom runs.
Oh, God damn you.
Yep, we're going to end this show.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to catch up with everything we just mentioned over there, all that fun stuff. We'll have our Game of the Year stuff towards the end of December. I think it should be pretty similar to last year. I like that format. I enjoyed it. We'll have our discussions. We'll have our arguments, let's say, our disagreements. We'll have our consensi on our Game of the Year. Always fun to see how everybody handles it. You can come join us towards the end of the year. We will be taking that week off during the normal week. If you are listening to this, you probably know already. That is usually the week between Christmas and New Year's, wherever that falls. So we will be off then. Just a heads up. I know if you're marking your calendar for our streams, just
if you are, bless your heart.
It's just a heads up. It's just in advance. I love giving people early notice. All right. Thank you, Brad Shoemaker. Thank you, Alex Navarro. We will be back next week.